So, when I was doing some background research online for this speech, I put the two terms Workers' Party and Citizenship together, and you won't be surprised to learn that the two phrases came up together a lot, going back decades and throughout the changes in the history of our party. The ideas of common citizenship, anti-sectarianism and socialism are core principles in this party. My research also brought an interesting story from 2003 when a high school in Hollywood organised a mock assembly vote as part of its citizenship education programme. The turnout eventually was poor, but of those who voted, those kids in school who voted, 38% voted for the Green Party, and the Workers' Party came in second with 32% of the vote. Of course, those students are now adults, and we don't yet have a Workers' Party MLA in North Down, but the story suggests a wider truth, which is that the strangulated sectarian status quo of Sinn Féin and the DUP does not reflect the social outlook of many thousands of people in Northern Ireland. Indeed, I would argue that, as in the USA, where there is a system in which two pro-capitalist parties alternate in power, and the people are mostly in the spectator seats, expected to behave as active consumers and passive citizens. Here in Northern Ireland, the views and wishes of the majority of our citizens are ably sidelined, articulately sidelined, by the sectarian parties. The Sinn Féin DUP strategy has been to manipulate sectarianism rather than seeking to eradicate it. Why should they eradicate what brings them into power? Much of the good, one example of the popular view that sectarian parties cannot adequately respond to can be seen in a recent Northern Ireland Life and Times survey. Since 1998, the Northern Ireland Life and Times survey has undertaken annual surveys as a resource for those interested in the social attitudes of people living in Northern Ireland. The most recent Northern Ireland Life and Times survey in 2021, found that 90% of responders agree that social security should enable an individual or family to meet their basic needs. This included 88% of DUP supporters, slightly smaller number, 87% of Sinn Féin supporters. When asked if they feel, and another question in this survey, when asked if they feel if they have any influence when it comes to any of the decisions about what happens in Northern Ireland, 45% of respondents said probably not, and 37% said definitely not, which may explain why 62% agree that progress should be made on a Bill of Rights for Northern Ireland that Hugh was talking about earlier, to expand protection of rights and reflect the particular circumstances of Northern Ireland. The call for a Bill of Rights has been central to the Workers' Party platform for decades. In a 2021 submission to the Assembly, this party lamented that despite having campaigned for a Bill of Rights for Northern Ireland for over 50 years, we are still at the consultation stage. Citizenship is central to this call for a Bill of Rights. The Workers' Party's attachment to the concept of a Bill of Rights is not based on sentiment or some abstract philosophical position. We believe that the purpose of a Bill of Rights is to establish and guarantee the relationship between citizens and the state, and must form the basis for democratic rights as the guarantor of the civil liberties of all citizens and of the political rights of all parties, groups and individuals. This party believes that a Bill of Rights would operate as a mechanism to permit political life to flourish and could act as the solid foundation for a renewal of the democratic process. And there are probably quite a few in leadership positions in the sectarian parties and in the business class who would be fearful of what a flourishing democracy might mean for their sectarian ideologies and positions of power. We in the Workers' Party believe that social and economic rights can only be realised through the implementation of a radical and progressive socialist transformation of society. The demands for full employment, affordable housing for all, free healthcare and education at the point of demand, affordable access to cultural resources, a society that respects environmental limits, sounds like Cuba to me. All of these demands can only be fully realised in a socialist society where the social surplus is placed at the disposal of the workers who produce it. While recognising this, and recognising that we don't live in that society yet, we would support inclusion in a Bill of Rights of a robust framework of economic, social and environmental rights which advances working class demands. 25 years ago, although fearful that the mechanisms would copper fasten sectarianism, as John talked about earlier, the Workers' Party supported the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, and we supported its subsequent overwhelming endorsement by the vast majority of people on the island. But we have reached a stage where the Assembly is on hold yet again, and where 82% of our people feel that they have no influence when it comes to any of the decisions made about what happens in Northern Ireland. How do we, as a socialist, anti-sectarian party of citizens, confront this impasse? If it were to become a force in society, the concept of socialist citizenship based on class politics, working class unity, solidarity, would help to redefine our relationships and responsibilities to each other and to the institutions of government through clear and guaranteed relationships underpinned by a Bill of Rights. As noted, there will be those who actively oppose the concept of socialist citizenship in an attempt to tie the rest of us into their tribal positions and pro-capitalist or mildly social democratic delusions. But for those of us who want to explore the possibilities offered on the other side of the political brick wall that we've been facing for the last 25 years, activist, anti-sectarian citizenship with socialism as the central goal offers a way forward. As one comrade wrote on the Workers' Party website, quote, "Unless we calibrate our relationships and understanding of each other, we and our children will be facing the same brick wall in 25 and 50 years' time. Those of us who oppose sectarianism must organise as strongly and stubbornly as those who promote and profit from it. The concept of socialist citizenship gives us that commonality and base from which to progress. Socialist citizenship is not a silver bullet, it is not a quick fix panacea. However, it could form the basis for a constructive, respectful and forward-looking society as an alternative to the backward, parochial ethnocentricity of the Sinn Féin and DUP, neither of whom can hold out that hope." Thank you, comrades.